Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out 10 nastiest, scummiest moments in football history.
A violent and ticketless mob, numbering 2,000, tailgated, stormed disabled gates or fire exits and broke into the stadium.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and in this unranked list we're looking at some of the most reprehensible moments in the history of football.
Allegations of tapping up have recently centred around one club. Chelsea.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Y'all be sure to like and subscribe at WatchMojo UK. And then maybe like and subscribe JJLA Reacts. And then maybe like and subscribe JJLA Reacts Music as well. Or not. I know. I don't like to subscribe. I get it. Some channels I've watched probably 100 videos and I'm still not subscribed. So I get it. But it helps me out. If you like me, subscribe. Don't subscribe if you are a piece of piece of. But you know, no judgment.
Kicking Mateta. The FA Cup was rocked by some unprecedented violence on the pitch in 2025 when Millwall goalkeeper Liam Roberts kicked Crystal Palace forward Jean-Philippe Mateta in the head.
Oh, with cleats on. Oh my God, that could kill somebody. Wow, let's get a close-up view. All of this is chunks of... Look, there's a chunk of his face right there. Face chunk. That looks like a piece of an eyelid. Cheek. Piece of the ear dangling off. Damn. That looks intentional too. He's seeing it happen. He's watching it. He's aiming. Right? Wow. He should be in prison for attempted murder.
Were you that Michael Oliver gave a yellow card initially and had to go to the monitor?
Violence in football fans is a well-known phenomenon that all of the world's football organisations are intent on cracking down on. But scenes like this between players on the pitch are a world away from the usual tackles we see.
He's raced out of his box very unwisely. He's almost, to use Stephen's words at times, he's panicked, hasn't he?
Mateta's injuries were severe, with his ear needing cosmetic surgery and 25 stitches to be repaired after the damage Roberts did. Roberts has since received a 3-match ban, eventually increased to 6 matches, while Millwall supporters were chanting "Let him die" from the stands during the incident.
They always have the power to increase a ban if they feel it's warranted.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. I don't know about letting him die, but he should, 6 games, okay, maybe a whole season, because I guess it's hard to prove the intent, you know? You can't tell what's going on in someone's brain, really, but also, he needed reconstructive surgery on his ear and 25 stitches. That's not nearly as bad as I thought. I thought he was going to be missing a lip, you know? Not that bad. Let's check in on him. Who is this guy? Mateta, right? Jean-Philippe Mateta. Oh, he's wearing an ear guard now. See, he learned his lesson, y'all. Let's check in on his face. How's he looking? When was this taken? Looks good as new. He's a handsome guy. Hang on. Show me. Okay. Yeah, his ear right there. All right. There's some blood. That happens. When did this happen? 2025. Oh. So this just happened last month. It's been 7 weeks. So there's probably no post-recovery images yet. Let's hope his beautiful face is better than before, right? Maybe they'll give him a little nip-tuck while they're in there. Maybe 26 stitches, you know? Turn it into a blessing, right? That was hardcore. Let's not kick each other in the face, right?
The Ryan Giggs scandal.
Basically, Ryan Giggs has spent an awful lot of money to ensure that he's become world famous for stuff other than football.
In 2011, An anonymous footballer took out a super injunction to stop the tabloids reporting on his affair with a Big Brother contestant and beauty pageant star, but he wasn't anonymous for long. It was an open secret that Ryan Giggs was the footballer in question, and he was eventually named after somebody leaked the details of the injunction on Twitter.
Well, the law is clear. There is still a court order in force which says that we can't name Ryan Giggs as the person who brought these proceedings.
Though a footballer cheating on his wife isn't that big a news item, the real issue was these super injunctions themselves, and how easy it seemed to be for public figures to take them out and stop journalists from reporting on even the fact that such injunctions existed. It was MP John Hemming who used his parliamentary privilege to officially name Giggs.
With about 75,000 people having named Ryan Giggs on Twitter, it's obviously impracticable.
Wow. So Ryan Giggs had an affair and he tried to get the press to cover it up, and they did, but then it leaked out, and then the issue became that you shouldn't be able to stop the press from pressing. That's what I gathered from this. This guy, does he realize? Does Josh, wait, who was it? Legal comment, does he even realize that he's doing it?
Well, the law is clear. There is still a court order in force which says that we can't name Ryan Giggs as the person who brought these.
And he just did it. He should be in prison for naming Ryan Giggs. What's his name? Ryan Giggs. Okay. He's Welsh. Oh, he's the coach. Let's see if there's anything about this scandal. Oh, I guess he was a player at the time, but I don't see anything about the scandal. I guess he squashed the story from his Wikipedia as well. It's actually really smart. Moving on.
2013 match-fixing ring.
Investigators said officials and players were bribed as part of a sophisticated organised crime operation.
In late 2013, newspaper investigations led to multiple arrests of people allegedly involved in match-fixing in football. The ringleader in the UK seemed to be centre-back Sam Soje, who allegedly said that he could get large cash payments to footballers willing to get red cards during League One matches.
So this is match-fixing activity on a scale that we've not seen before, involving hundreds of criminals and corrupted officials and players.
Other people were arrested and put on trial for conspiracy to commit bribery, with 5 people in total being found guilty of the offences. Only one of the accused was cleared. But investigations also found that match-fixing was rife throughout Europe, including in the Champions League, with much of it linked to shady international gambling websites.
We're talking games affected, including a World Cup qualifier, European Championship qualifiers, domestic European leagues, and interestingly for England, 2 Champions League games.
Wow, this seems pretty widespread. That sucks. So I guess, for my American friends, I believe a red card is when you get thrown out of the game. So players were accepting money to get themselves thrown out of a game. Basically giving it up to the competition, right? Sam Soje, what are you doing with your life, Sam? What are you doing with your life? Born in England to Nigerian parents. He's from Greenwich, London, so his timekeeping is really good. Sorry, that was dumb. Anything about the conspiracy? Personal life? Match-fixing allegation. On February 23rd, 2013, Soji was sent off for punching Oldham Athletics' Jose Baxter in the groin. Sam. In December 2013, a report by The Sun on Sunday suggested that Soji internationally attempted to get sent off to receive a cash payment. Soji allegedly admitted to having been paid £70,000 to be sent off in the match. Someone paid him £70,000 to punch Jose in the groin. Wow. Hey, I don't know. That's a lot of money, but dang. In January 2019, Sojay was alleged to have laundered money from a scam in 2013 in which companies in Colombia, India, and Italy were tricked into handing over money by fraudsters who sent emails posing as the firm's suppliers. Later that month, after a trial at Old Bailey in London, he was found not guilty of 2 charges and cleared up in further 2 charges. Yeah, I think Sojay might be a Nigerian prince. He's the one that we've been hearing about. You know, you think that doesn't... we just assume people don't fix matches, right? We just assume. But it happens, and that's unfortunate.
Wayne Rooney's affairs.
We're lucky that we've both, had the strength and support of each other and people around us.
From Ryan Giggs to Wayne Rooney, Rooney is even more widely known for his scandalous life off the pitch than Giggsy. The first scandal that attached itself to him involved a grandmother named Patricia Tiernan, though Tiernan has always denied that she was a sex worker at the brothel Rooney had visited and that they'd slept together, though she did see him there while working at the reception.
The person responsible for Colleen being judged was Wayne Rooney. He did what he did.
Later, he was linked more than once to another lady of the night, Jennifer Thompson, including one incident where it was alleged he'd paid for a 3-way. He was done for drink driving with another woman in 2017 and has been spotted in suspicious circumstances with many more. Somehow, Colleen has forgiven him every time.
Have you forgiven him?
I wouldn't be standing here if I hadn't forgiven him.
When these things have happened, we've sat down and I've explained what's happened.
Wayne might have a sex addiction, y'all. He's made that way. Rooney. What are you doing now? Colleen. Oh my God. Whoa. The bad times have accumulated onto his face. That's mean to say. Oh, I've looked him up before. The link is purple. Why have I looked him up before? Oh, Manchester United. Wow, he's really good. On January 23rd, 2010, that was my birthday, Rooney scored all 4 goals in Manchester United's 4-0 win over Hull. Okay, he's a talented player too, so he gets away with all kinds of stuff, I guess. Anything about the conspiracy? Right. Oh, he retired. Regarded as one of the best players of his generation. See, he can get away with it. And the ladies love that kind of stuff. Not seeing anything about his exploits. His wife must be cruising his Wikipedia and editing it. Colleen, I don't know, should she stay with him? I think she likes that money. I think she likes the prestige. I think she likes that kitchen she's in. Look at that kitchen. Maybe she's got some D on the side. Birds of a feather.
We've sat down and I've explained what's happened.
FIFA corruption.
Even by FIFA standards, these are extraordinary developments.
In the 2010s, some people at FIFA thought it was suspicious that FIFA itself had decided to award the 2018 and 2022 World Cups to Russia and Qatar respectively, and appointed external investigators to work out whether officials had been bribed.
Really?
Cooperated with the FIFA inquiry?
The English?
Yes, no one except the English and the Australians, and definitely not the Russians or the Qataris.
Russia responded by claiming every computer used in the World Cup bidding process had been destroyed, while Qatar was found to have paid someone to secure at least 1 vote, though this was dismissed because it was only 1 vote out of the 13 needed.
It was simply that the Russians were unable to provide more than a few documents from the bidding process because the computers they used during their bid had been leased, they were returned and subsequently destroyed by their
Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, in 2024, it was announced that Saudi Arabia had been awarded the 2034 competition.
At the moment, 9 FIFA officials face corruption charges.
Putin wants that trophy, y'all. He's desperate. He's a desperate, sad man. With a lot of plastic surgery. His slop. Whenever I lease out a computer to someone, as soon as they return it to me, I destroy it. Because, somebody else used it, It's like a toilet seat cover. Get rid of it.
R.V. Terry.
Now, the England defender John Terry has denied that he snapped and used a racist obscenity after he was taunted by fellow player Anton Ferdinand.
Back in 2012, John Terry was taken to court after being charged with racially abusing Anton Ferdinand of Queen's Park Rangers. He was found not guilty of the specific charge of using racist language, and it was argued that the video evidence wasn't entirely clear.
Terry claimed he was sarcastically repeating the words Ferdinand thought he had used.
Ferdinand himself hadn't even heard what Terry had said, with the case against him being brought forward by the FA itself. Regardless of the court case, Terry was stripped of the England captaincy by the FA, and soon enough the FA became the story when its shoddy investigative work was called into question. Terry was banned from playing for 4 matches.
Everyone else was saying, don't say nothing, let the lawyers deal with it, let this go to court, it'll be sorted out.
John Terry. What did he say? What did he say? Oh. Terry's defense was that he actually said effing black C word. Question mark. It was all about the question mark. Terry's argument was that in the noise and commotion of a West London derby, he thought he had heard Ferdinand accusing him of using those 3 words. Alright, okay. I thought he was going to use the N-word. Right? But he didn't. But that is a racial remark. It's a remark about race.
Storming Wembley.
Wembley only 3/4 full, COVID restrictions relaxed, no fan zones nearby, and England in their first major final in 55 years.
In 2021, England got all the way to the delayed finals of the 2020 Euros against Italy, and what followed was one of the darkest recent days in European football. A violent minority of England supporters who turned up on the day without buying tickets were so desperate to get into the stands that they broke down barriers, stormed the stadium, and overwhelmed security.
I was horrified. I mean, the scenes of disorder were horrific.
These groups were already violent before the match began, causing chaos throughout London before attacking the fans who had bought tickets and attended normally. But the situation got even worse after the match.
It's not about being a football fan or anything like that. It's getting what you can for free. It's preying on the weak, if you like.
With England ultimately losing on penalties, the violence escalated even more, and the players who took those penalties were ruthlessly harassed with death threats and slurs.
I didn't hear about this. Who's this kid in the wheelchair? Somebody attack him? Or is this after the attack? I think it's during the game. That's so many people. They must have all been in cahoots, right? How often do people show up at a stadium without having a ticket, you know? I don't think that happens much. There must have been some conspiracy, right? It was during the lockdown, so people were going nuts, I bet. I'm sorry that happened. But I also understand. I understand. Crazy.
English football corruption.
Tapping up would normally work by a covert meeting being arranged between an agent and a player, or a club official and a player.
In 2006, Panorama led an investigation into corruption in English football, investigating a slew of high-profile managers and executives, including the Apprentice's Baroness Karen Brady, who was arrested and questioned but never charged with anything. Specifically, club officials were alleged to be trying to bribe players into transferring to other teams and conspiring to tap them up, and many were filmed by Panorama as part of the investigation.
Tonight, Peter was touting an England junior international from Middlesbrough called Nathan Porritt.
6 agents were ultimately charged by the FA, though many of the charges were dropped. A handful did admit it though, and the FA has certainly cracked down on these types of bribes since, as far as we know anyway.
The clubs aren't supposed to meet the player, you know, but I have Newcastle at my house.
Oh, the clubs aren't supposed to meet the players. Really? Can't you just call it a signing bonus and then it's legal? I guess there's a rule against doing this, but I don't see the problem. I don't know exactly how the NFL works in America, but I imagine there's like, hey, come to our team and we'll give you this money. Is that not a bribe? But that's how it works. There's probably some rule to keep it fair and to keep salaries within a range. Oh, I bet that was it. I bet they're trying to, they're probably trying to get around the salary cap, right? Okay. Yeah, can't do that.
I wasn't supposed to meet the player, you know, but I had.
Don't tell people, idiot.
Murder of Andreas Escobar.
On June 22nd in Pasadena's Rose Bowl, the U.S. won a 2-1 game in which Colombia defender Andres Escobar accidentally kicked the ball into his own net.
One of the most horrific moments in the
His
history
neck?
of football came on the 2nd of July, 1994, when Colombian centre-back Andreas Escobar was murdered in a car park in the early hours of the morning. He was recognised and approached by 3 men and subsequently shot, all because he'd scored an own goal in a group stage match between Colombia and the US in that year's World Cup.
The team returned home on Wednesday to anonymous threats that were carried out.
The killers were caught and were sentenced to decades in prison, though they didn't serve that long. It's believed that they were cartel members who'd lost money on the match. It was a diabolical incident, a national tragedy for Colombia. Escobar was commended with a statue, and his charitable legacy lives on.
It was at 3:30 a.m. in front of this restaurant. 27-year-old Andres Escobar got into his car. He was surrounded and shot 12 times.
Oh, man. Stretching to block a cross from American midfielder John Harkes, he had inadvertently deflected the ball into his own net. This gave the U.S. a 1-0 lead and in an eventual 2-1 victory. After the tournament, Escobar decided to return to Colombia instead of visiting relatives in Las Vegas. On the evening of July 1st, 1994, 5 days after the elimination of Colombia from the World Cup, Escobar called his friends and they went to a bar in the El Poblado neighborhood in Medellin. Then they went to a liquor store. Shortly afterwards, they arrived at El Indio nightclub. His friends split up. At approximately 3 in the morning, Escobar was alone in the parking lot of El Indio in his car when 3 men appeared. They began arguing with him. 2 of the men took out handguns. Escobar was shot 6 times with a .38 caliber pistol. It was reported that the killer shouted, "Go. Goal." After every shot, once for each time a football commentator had said it during the broadcast. Wow. The group then drove away in a Toyota pickup truck, leaving Escobar to bleed to death. He was taken to the hospital where he died 45 minutes later. He was 27 years old. Man, that's horrible.
The Sun reports on Hillsborough.
I was at the match yesterday and saw firsthand the tragedy before my eyes.
The behaviour of South Yorkshire Police at Hillsborough Stadium that day was appalling and led directly to the overcrowding of the pen, with 6 people finally being charged for the disaster in 2017 after multiple inquiries.
Senior South Yorkshire officers, in the absence of their own chief constable, declined to discuss the policing of yesterday's match and left at once.
But something else happened in the aftermath of Hillsborough, something that led to the entire city of Liverpool refusing to buy copies of The Sun to this day. The Sun published a front page titled "The Truth," full of slander, blaming Liverpool supporters for the violence and making outrageous false claims about the behaviour of fans who, in reality, were trying to save as many people from the stands as they could.
Among those who died on soccer's blackest day were many lifelong Liverpool fans.
Let us know which sporting tragedies affected you the most.
The crowds have been making their way to Hillsborough again today, many fewer and in an altogether different mood from that of yesterday afternoon.
Oh, man. This has happened a couple times, I think, hasn't it? Big up to the Liverpudlians for not buying it, you know? I think they're sticking by their own. I think that's good. And The Sun's a tabloid anyway, right? You don't read that crap. I think is it owned by Rupert Murdoch? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. So you know it's crap. It's good for toilet paper, maybe. Or fire kindling. They burned copies of the newspaper, yes. It was widely boycotted in Merseyside, yeah. Sales have been estimated to have dropped from 55,000 per day in the region to 12,000. Who's buying? Who are these 12,000 people buying it? Yo, come on. Wow, it's like they're blaming the victims. I think I've looked this up before. This sounds very familiar. You know, the first few were kind of juicy, just like scandals, intermarital affairs, and bribery. But some of them were like tragedies. Well, y'all, I hope this cheered you up. I hope this made you see that the world is a beautiful place. 'Cause it is. Anyway, I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee people. Thank y'all for watching this with me, and I'll see you next time. Later.